This just in.
Ona Lukashaite was a young Lithuanian woman who passed away during the premature labor of her second son with Jurgis Rutkus. Ona and her family immigrated to the stockyards of Chicago, aiming away from the limited opportunities of Lithuania. Her and Jurgis were not yet married when they first arrived due to the cost of holding a ceremony. Not too long after their arrival, the family of 12 found a home in which they signed off for, not knowing the extra cost it would hold. This resulted in Ona having to join the meatpacking industry, fearing the eviction of her family. However, this might have been the beginning of her end. The jobs in Packingtown heavily depended on strength, which she eventually could not keep up with.
Ona's my first love. I can't take this. I only dreamed of growing old with her, protecting her from what comes. She only offered me love, yet I was so cruel and bitter to her. I regret ever coming here, to this false free land. She suffered a life she did not deserve, and it is all my fault for dragging her here.
Ona was left fragile after her first pregnancy. Though it was recommended to her by the doctors that she stayed at home to both nurture the baby and Heu. She had to keep working in order to help her family. This weakens her body as she begins to suffer womb trouble, as her co-workers would call it. At her job, her suffering continues. Miss Henderson, the forelady, hated her, so she accompanied Phil Connor, Ona's boss, in her raid. She was defenseless and silenced. She could not say anything or oppose it due to the connections Connor had to the bosses of her family members. As a result, she spiraled through a depression, coming home silently. She was then forced into prostitution by him.
My beautiful daughter, my Ona. It hurt so much to depart from her. She had suffered so much. But it is what life puts on my path. I must bury my own child again, burying a part of me I will never get back.
She then finds out she was pregnant with her second child. She had hoped that her pregnancy would turn off Connor. Ona grew weaker and weaker by the days. One day, Jurgis follows her and finds out about the sexual abuse Connor did to her and winds up in jail for attacking her. Jurgis is in jail during her final days, where she is bedridden from her depressed health. Ona screams in her pain as she goes through her premature labor. She agonizes for hours on end. When Jurgis gets out of prison, he is too late. Jurgis attempts to hire a midwife, but it was in no success. Ona could no longer push forward, and her screams died down. She approached dreadful death alongside her unborn baby.